What's up, YouTube? Capital G here. Today I'm going to do an episode about cards that were not so playable in the beginning of the format, but now I think are pretty amazing and deserve a second look. Many have cast them aside to their, the back of the trade binders and the good common piles and stuff like that. So whip them out and see what they can do. First card will be Trap Dustshoot. I really like Trap Dustshoot because in the beginning of the format, the big knock on Trap Dustshoot was, everybody sets 4 back rows, so it's hard. It's really hard past turn 1 to get it off because people don't hold their cards in their hand. But you've got decks like Plant Synchro and Fish OTK, which hold a ton of cards in their hand, generally a lot. Pot of Duality helps on both fronts. Not only does it help you get to this card faster, and just about everything runs Pot of Duality, but you can often, wait for your opponent to play Pot of Duality, see what monster they get, play Trap Dustshoot on them. It's a good side card against Fish FTK because, they play 3 Duality, they play 2 copies of Ghost Arc. How the deck wants to win against you. You play Trap Dustshoot at the right time, they really can't win. You set them back a couple turns, maybe you can win, So, and I really like this against a few decks like, I guess it would sound like a double-edged sword, like Gravekeepers and Hero Beats. These are decks that, run 14 to 16 monsters, so it doesn't really sound like your odds of hitting a monster are that great, but, they do play Duality. They play recruiting cards. So they're decks that if you can hit them with a well-timed Trap Dustshoot, it might be 2 turns before they draw another monster. Even 6 Samurai, that deck runs, I think in Japan, they're running like 16 monsters, so, you can hold them off for just a couple turns just by hitting them with the Trap Dustshoot. Second card, Fossil Dyna. Fossil Dyna is amazing. It's really shocked me. It's just shocked me that Fossil Dyna really has never seen competitive play in Yu-Gi-Oh outside of like stun decks, and you would think that in metas like Teledad, this card would be all the rage, but it just never got off the ground, and I really think it's good this format. With it's great against Plant Synchro. I've tested it out of the sideboard. It's really good because against Plant Synchro, all their monsters except for the exception of, basically like Card Trooper, they can't just summon and attack over it. Everything has to be set in that deck. So, unless they really have Raikou, you're free to basically just attack, and pretty much lock them down. They can't lone fire you. They can't do their debris nonsense. Hamster, Dandelion, they get wrecked by this card. The Spore plays, the Glow Up Bro plays. It pretty much just destroys the entire deck. The same thing goes for Formula Monarchs and Fish OTK. Basically, you just get Fossil Dyna on the field since those decks don't play Book of Moon. They can't Gorz you, they can't Battle Fade you. They really don't have any type of defense other than Fish OTK has. They can set like Snowman Eater or Ronin Totem and stuff. So outside of like setting their frogs, they just basically just get wrecked by this card. You just attack. So it's a very good card out the sideboard. I'm running some in Hero Beat. Like I think decks like Blackwing should consider taking a couple of these because they're just huge, and it's better than even Raw Oppression and like those matchups. My two other really good picks will be Mystical Space Typhoon and Dust Tornado. If you guys watch some of my videos, I really hated Mystical Space Typhoon at the beginning of the format. I thought it was okay in scraps because they were playing Summoner Monk, so it was like even if you didn't have to target a back row, you could just pitch it for Monk and, make your Scrap Dragon. The reason I hated it is because people were setting 3 cards, they were setting 4, and then, summon a monster, and it was just like trying to hit the right card, and it often failed. But now you've got Gravekeepers, which are a really good and dominating deck, and you've also got 6 Samurai about to come out. The thing about these cards is you can play them in a different way now. It's not more of I'm going to sit there and I'm going to try and blindly MST or dust one of your defensive cards. Now it can be played in the sense of if I'm playing against Gravekeepers, and I've got an MST, I really don't care about trying to hit your Solemn Warnings, Book of Moons, Mirror Force, whatever. I'm just going to wait until you play Necro Valley, and then I'm going to MST that because now I'm putting a huge I'm putting huge pressure on you because one card that the central theme of your deck basically just is obliterated. You can't get your boost. You can't use royal tributes and stuff like that. The same goes for Six Samurai. Six Samurai have decent effects, but I mean, if you hold them to just being able to keep a samurai on the field without getting pluses from Gateway and United, I mean, they're basically just a bunch of 18 through 2100 beaters who really can't do a whole lot. I mean, that's the way to easily beat the deck. So, I mean, if you play these cards in different ways, not try and take out your opponent's defensive cards, but, specifically use them when you see the Necro Valley, when you see Gateway, or you see United after they summon a Samurai. That is how you can capitalize and easily take down those decks. My last card would be Gorz. I thought Gorz was really bad at the beginning of the format because everybody was kind of having fun with Solemn Warning, and then it kind of faded out. And although the same thing has kind of happened now, people realize that bottom still isn't so great, so people are adding warnings back in their deck. What I've learned about Gorz is it completely changes the tempo of the game, and there aren't many ways to stop it. Basically, nobody runs Divine Wrath, and Glad Beasts don't really see a lot of play. Gorz is already bad against Glad, so that's kind of irrelevant. But I mean, what I like about Gorz is it lets you not commit a lot of cards to the field, and then essentially say, if you don't have Solemn Warning, I'm really gonna come back and potentially win this game just because of this one card. You can't torrential, you can't do any of your power cards torrential or bottomless or anything like that in the battle phase. So it really doesn't help. And Gorz, I really like the fact that, I mean, I guess this is just bias on me, the fact that the token is light. I mean, I've won like 3 or 4 games because I've used Honest on the token. Like, people never, ever, ever see it coming. So I don't really know if Gorz fits in all decks, but there are a lot of decks that it's really good in. I wouldn't really recommend it on Blackwings or anything like that, but I think Sabres can use it, Heroes can use it. There are a lot of good decks that can definitely use this card. Also, it's absolutely excellent against Samurais and Gravekeepers. Especially against Samurais, it creates really big problems for the deck. Basically, if they don't have like hand on the field or hand it in their hand, then it creates really big problems from them. Against Fish OTK, they can't OTK you, and they're just sitting on the field with a card that Sea King guy, who I think has 27, so Gorz can suicide, and they generally probably pitched all their cards out of their hand for Veronic, so it's a really good counter. I hope you guys have liked this video. You should check out some of these cards, especially like Gorz and Fossil Dyna. These are they're game-winning cards, and then Trap Dustshoot maybe coming out, seeing a little more play, and then these guys like almost staple inside decks. Thanks for watching, guys.